Subscribe now if you're brave enough to keep watching. The night Ethan Miles disappeared was colder than usual for early October. The kind of cold that clings to your skin long after you've stepped indoors. He had finished his shift at Miller's Diner, a tired 29-year-old man who just wanted to get home to his apartment on the other side of town. He was exhausted, frustrated, and didn't want to waste another 20 minutes driving the long way around. So, when he saw the weathered wooden sign pointing toward Raven's Bend Road, he didn't hesitate. The shortcut. The locals all warned about it. Don't drive that road after dark, they'd say. It's cursed. Ethan had grown up hearing those stories, drivers who vanished, engines that died for no reason, figures seen standing at the tree line. But those were just ghost tales told to keep kids out of the woods, right? The first few miles were quiet. Too quiet. His old Honda hummed down the narrow blacktop, headlights cutting through the fog that rolled like smoke across the forest. The trees pressed in from both sides, tall, skeletal, and endless. Even with the windows up, Ethan could smell damp earth and decay. He turned up the radio to drown the silence, but static hissed through every channel. Then, for a few seconds, a voice, faint, garbled, whispered through the static, "Don't stop." Ethan froze. He stared at the radio, heart pounding, but the voice was gone. Just white noise. He shook it off and kept driving. His eyes darted between the dark road and the mirrors. Nothing but fog behind him. Nothing ahead but the winding curve of asphalt. Then, something flickered in the trees. A shape, tall, thin, and unnaturally still. The beam of his headlights caught it just for a second. It looked like a man standing on the shoulder of the road, facing the woods. Ethan slowed, squinting. But when he passed, there was no one here. He drove faster. Another mile, another flicker this time, on the opposite side of the road. Again, motionless, watching. His throat went dry. He hit the gas. As he turned a sharp bend, the engine sputtered. The dashboard lights dimmed, then died. The car coasted to a stop in the middle of the road. No cell signal, no radio, just the creak of cooling metal and his own breath. He popped the hood, stepping into the mist. The forest was silent. No wind, no crickets, nothing. Then, behind him, a crunch of gravel. "Hello?" he called. No answer. Just another crunch, closer this time. He turned, flashlight shaking in his grip, scanning the trees. That's when he saw them footprints in the damp dirt. Bare feet. Small, childlike. Leading away from the car into the woods. Something in him wanted to follow, maybe, to prove to himself he wasn't imagining it. But the deeper he stared into the trees, the more it felt like they were staring back. He got back into the car, hands trembling. The moment the door shut, his phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a new voice memo recorded at 2:17 a.m. He hadn't touched it. He pressed play. Static. Breathing. Then his own voice whispered from the speaker, "Turn around." Ethan's blood turned to ice. Slowly, he raised his eyes to the rearview mirror. Someone was sitting in the back seat. But before he could scream, the headlights went out and the screen went black. The next morning, the fog still clung to the trees when a truck driver called in a stalled vehicle along Raven's Bend Road. Sheriff Dalton arrived first, boots crunching through the frost. The car was there, Ethan Miles's Honda Civic, parked sideways across the center line, headlights dim, engine cold. The driver's door was open. The interior lights were still on. On the passenger seat sat Ethan's wallet, phone, and keys. But there was no sign of Ethan. Not even footprints. The dirt was untouched except for a single small print, half washed away by the dew. Deputy Clara lifted the phone, the cracked screen still glowing faintly. "Looks like it was recording," she muttered. The last file was a 3-minute voice memo, time-stamped 2:17 a.m. She hit play. The speakers hissed. Static, then a faint rustle, breathing, and finally a whisper Ethan's voice, shaking. "Don't stop. Please, don't stop." Sheriff Dalton's jaw clenched. "Download that," he said, "and check the dash cam." The dash cam had been running, its red light blinking steadily. Clara took the SD card back to the station, loaded it into the computer, and pressed play. At first, the footage looked normal, Ethan driving, tired, humming softly to the radio. The timestamp matched the night before. Around 2 a.m., the camera glitched static cut across the screen. When it cleared, something was off. The headlights illuminated the road ahead, but just for a moment, something moved through the light, a blur of white fabric, a figure stepping into the road. Ethan swerved, heart pounding, mouth moving in silent panic. The camera flickered again. When it came back on, Ethan's seat was empty. The car was still moving. Hands not his gripped the steering wheel. Pale, long-fingered hands. Deputy Clara paused the footage, staring. "Is this real?" Dalton's voice was low. "Keep watching." The car rolled to a stop in the middle of road. The headlights stayed on. For nearly 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then, from the back seat, a shape began to rise, a faint silhouette in the dark. Not solid, not clear, more like shadow than flesh. It leaned forward until its reflection filled the windshield. Its face was almost human, except for the eyes. 2 hollow circles, black as tar. Then the audio spiked. A whisper. Over and over. "Turn back, turn back, turn back." And then a knock. 3 sharp knocks against the camera lens, though no one was in the car. The feed cut to static. When the screen went black, Clara leaned back, whispering, "He's still out there." Dalton rubbed his temples. "No, whatever that was, it isn't him anymore." That evening, they sent a search team through the woods. For hours, they found nothing but trees and silence. Then one of the dogs began to bark low, nervous. In a clearing, half buried in the mud, they found something strange. A trail of bare footprints, small and uneven, leading deeper into the forest. They followed the trail until it stopped at a rotted sign nailed to a tree. The letters were barely legible under the moss, but the sheriff wiped them clean enough to read, "Raven's Bend, do not enter after dusk." Behind the sign, the dirt split into 2 paths. The search team radio crackled with interference and the GPS stopped working. Then the lead deputy called out, "Sheriff, you should see this." Half hidden under a tangle of roots was a car tire, same brand, same size torn clean off the rim. Etched into the sidewall, carved deep and jagged, were 3 words. "Don't stop driving." 2 weeks after Ethan's disappearance, Ravens Bend Road was officially closed. Patrol cars blocked both ends, but that didn't stop locals from sneaking in after dark chasing thrills, filming YouTube challenges, or just testing their courage. Most came back. Some didn't. By the 3rd week, Sheriff Dalton was barely sleeping. Every night, reports came in of strange lights flickering through the trees, of radios picking up faint whispers along that stretch. The recordings all ended the static breath and a voice repeating, "Don't stop." Dalton returned to the site one last time with Deputy Clara. He couldn't shake the feeling they'd missed something. The fog hung thick over the road as they parked the cruiser near where Ethan's car had been found. The moment they stepped out, the air changed. It was cold, not the natural kind of cold, but heavy, like stepping underwater. Clara aimed her flashlight down the asphalt. "You hear that?" she whispered. Dalton paused. Beneath the hum of the crickets was a faint rhythm footsteps. Slow, steady, approaching from somewhere in the mist. He called out, "Hello? This area's closed." No answer. Just the crunch of gravel, closer now. Clara's beam cut through the fog, but the road ahead was empty. The sound stopped. Then, from behind them, a car engine roared to life. Their cruiser. The headlights flickered on by themselves, blinding white. The radio inside crackled, and a man's voice, Ethan's voice, came through. "Don't stop driving. Don't stop driving. Don't." Dalton yanked the door open, but the seat was empty. The gear shift moved on its own. The tires screeched, and the cruiser lunged forward down the road, vanishing into the fog like something alive. Static filled the night air. Then silence. They ran after it until Clara tripped over something in the dirt, Ethan's phone. The cracked screen was glowing faintly. A new file was record. A ding. When she pressed play, her own voice whispered back, "He's behind you." Dalton turned just in time to see movement between the trees. Something human-shaped but wrong. Its outline rippled, like heat over asphalt. The beam of the flashlight trembled as it caught a flash of pale skin, a hollow face, and eyes that were nothing but black circles. Then it was gone. They sprinted to the end of the road where the fog finally broke. When they looked back, there was nothing behind them, no figure, no cruiser, just an endless stretch of dark, empty road. Back at the station, the dashcam from their patrol car automatically uploaded to the database. What it showed made the sheriff's stomach twist. The camera recorded everything until 2:17 a.m., then glitched. When it resumed, the cruiser was parked at the same spot as Ethan's car had been, engine off, doors open. In the reflection of the windshield, barely visible, a man sat in the driver's seat. His head tilted, his eyes hollow, and his mouth moving soundlessly. It was Ethan. But when the timestamp blinked on screen, it didn't say October 14th. It read October 28th, the exact date of Dalton's last search. As the video ended, one final frame appeared. A still image captured automatically by the system. A warning carved into the fogged glass of the windshield, written backward from the inside. Don't stop. Since that night, no one's driven Raven's Bend after dark. Those who live nearby say sometimes, around 2:17 a.m., you can still hear a car engine in the distance idling endlessly on a road that no longer leads anywhere. And if you ever find yourself on a dark, empty highway and your radio cuts to static, don't stop. Don't ever stop. If this story haunted you, the next one will keep you awake. Hit subscribe if you dare.